Howdy, this is Mackenzie Franklin from SideGame LLC here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Today we're going to be organizing the Wingspan Nesting Box, designed by Elizabeth Hargrave and published by Stonemaier Games. This is a fully sleeved, fully expanded copy of the game with no lid lift that's organized to get gameplay started as soon as possible, as well as facilitate the game while it's being played. If you have any questions about what you see here, please let me know down in the comments of the video, and for links to anything that I talk about here, please take a look in the description. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please make sure that you do. It is the best way to help us grow, and for those of you already subscribed, thank you so much for the continuous support. Let's get started organizing the Wingspan Nesting Box. Before we begin, I do want to talk quickly about potential upgrades that you may have for your own copy of Wingspan. For our game, we've upgraded some of the meeples, so cubes into meeples, and also replaced the resources with some of the geek up bits here. You may also have your own upgrades for Wingspan, things like new eggs. There are these awesome nests that you can find that can hold the eggs. There are so many different ways that you can upgrade your copy of Wingspan. Now, with that being said, you probably are going to have a different storage solution and way that you use the nesting box, and that is okay. This video is going to be used to show you how we organize our copy of the nesting box with our specific upgrades, and hopefully it'll give you some ideas to upgrade and give an idea of how to organize your own box. I'd love to hear how you organize your copy of Wingspan Nesting Box down in the comments below, and let me know that the upgrades that you are enjoying for your copy. We'd love to hear what you think. One last thing before we get into the box, the sleeves we use for the game. We use these standard American-sized matte Gamegenic sleeves for the game. I love the way that they handle, shuffle, and just in general the quality of these sleeves. I can't recommend these enough. That being said, this specific size of card sleeve is going to make it so that using these card carriers is going to be a bit of a challenge. Because of the way that these are cut, they may bend slightly on the bottom of these card containers. In addition, they're going to be larger because they are sleeved, so it's going to take more of these containers to actually fit inside of them all. Now, the solution itself, the nesting box here, has a lot of card wells that are going to be able to hold sleeved cards, and so it isn't actually a problem. That being said, though, you will not be using these trays in this storage solution. With all that out of the way, let's get started organizing the Wingspan Nesting Box. We'll lift off the lid here, and on top you'll see we'll have all of our rule books, our boards, and our card display tray. With the current expansions available, you'll have a variety of colors to pick from for your card display tray. My favorite is purple, so we've put that one on top. Easy access, you'll just place that in the center of your game area, so that way you have your face-up display of bird cards. To the left of our bird tray, you'll have your end-of-round goal tracker here. You can play with the competitive side here, and then the less competitive side here. You have all of your different rule books for the game, including the quick start guides, if you're deciding to play with that, all the way up to your new Asia rule books and appendix, as well as Automa rules. So that'll be all on the left here. Underneath all of your rule books, you'll have your new Asia components. You'll have your two-player Duet mode board, and if you flip it over, you'll have your board required for flock. In addition, if you don't really like using the Birdfeeder, you can use this board here to replicate the Birdfeeder without actually having to use the dice tower, and then your additional board here for that flock mode to serve as an additional tray to grab cards. So all those will be grouped together. The rest of this top box here is filled with the player boards for the game. The Asia expansion has come with these new double-sided boards, one with the Oceania on one side, and a new alternate art version of the base game board on the other. So you'll use these if you'd like to use either of the artworks, or if you're deciding to play without flock mode, you'll need to add these to the rest of the boards here. On the right side, we have the remaining Oceania boards here if you're playing with more than two, or on the left side, you'll have your base game boards, and these are going to feature that original artwork. So all of your boards are going to be on this top section here. So that's everything inside of our top section here. Let's go ahead and pack it up. Let's first start off with our double-sided player boards, tucking them in on the right side, followed by our flock and duet mode game boards. We'll put them on the left side here. We'll finish this top section with all of our rule books and our goal board, followed by our bird tray. And that's everything in this top section. You can easily remove the top section by tugging on these strings on the side. You'll lift the sides like so, and we'll move it over. And now we'll get into the middle tray. Our main middle section here is divided into 4 different sections. We'll start in this upper right section here. First off, we have all of our Automa cards for the game. We actually have 2 different sets of Automa cards, one from the Asia expansion and one from the base game, Oceania, and Europe expansion. So these are going to be all in this first section, all of your Europe, Oceania, and base game expansions. And then in the back, all all of your Asia expansion. Now, the Asia expansion is special because it's going to give you rules and extra cards in order to play the Duet mode. So it's going to give you a new unique challenge. So all of those are going to fit there, separated by these two dividers in that upper right section. To the left of the Automa cards in this other section, we'll have the remaining dividers. We have a couple of dividers that we're not going to be using currently, things like promos, Europe and North America. Those are just incorporated into our deck of cards, but we also have some future expansions that have been hinted at. We have Latin America, Africa, and Antarctica that are on their way. So these are going to be dividers that we can use when we are organizing in the future. In addition to the dividers, we actually have one of these chocolate containers. So it's empty right now, but this was an April Fool's joke a while ago where you could store something like Cadbury eggs in order to denote that, hey, these are actually candy, you can eat these, while the other eggs in the other containers are not edible. So a little funny joke, and I like that it still fits in the box here. Below our chocolate container, we're going to get into all of our score pads and our cards. Let's start off with all of the different score pads. They're separated here based on their expansion type. You can see based on the color as well. We also have a couple of laminated copies of these score pads, but you have a lot of different ways to score your game based on the different abilities that are present. You've also got the solo mode on the back and then the competitive mode on the front. So you've got lots of ways to score, lots of different colors. You can definitely just pick the one that you like the most and laminate that, and then use the rest. We've got a pencil in here as well to keep track of score. To the right of all the score pads are your core birds. These include the North America birds as well as the Europe birds. These are going to be all of the birds that keep the core mechanisms of the game, and we're not including things like the Oceania expansion over here, which will fundamentally change the way that you're going to be playing, requiring you to use different birds. So these are going to be all of those North American bird cards. I'm not going to take all of these out here, but they all have this back here, and you can determine which birds are from which expansion based on this icon in the corner. If there's no icon, it means that they're from the base game. But if you keep on going, you may see things like this has an EE here. This means that it is from that Eastern Europe expansion. So that's all going to be all of your core bird cards on this right section. In addition to your core bird cards, we've got a couple of silica gel packets in here for freshness, as well as some tokens that'll be used every game. We've got your first player marker as well as an end of round reference, so that way you don't miss any important steps. And the last thing that you'll find in this section is a recently used birds tile. This is a divider that you can use if you want to freshen up and see more birds during your Wingspan experiences. You can put this at the back of the stack of cards like so, and after you finish up a game, take your discards and any played birds and put them on the back. That way, every time you play, you're going to see new cards. It's one of the coolest things about this game is that every single bird card is unique, and that way you're able to really appreciate all of the different artwork and different birds that you'll come across during your game. So that's everything on this right side. Let's move to our middle section, starting off with our resource bins. As mentioned before, we've upgraded our cardboard components here with these fancy Geek Up bits. We've got all of your core resources as well as your Oceania nectar, and then you have room in here for a variety of different colors of eggs. You can actually fit 4 different complete colors inside of each, but I like having 3 distinct colors because then you can separate them across the different resource containers. So there are actually 3 of these that come in the game. This is awesome because you can put them in between different players so that no one is having to reach across the table, and it's simply a lift of the lid and it's super accessible. I love these resource containers, so you'll have 3 of them total, separating the eggs in between all of them. Should be able to fit a variety of different resource types as well. To the left of your resource containers, you have your Birdfeeder for the game. This is a dice tower that's going to be used to gather resources throughout your experience, and the Asia expansion actually comes with a second one of these, but for our purposes, we only need 1 of them in the box here. If we are ever playing that flock mode, you can always use that board instead. So that's the Birdfeeder here, the top, as well as the bottom of the Birdfeeder. Now this is pretty important when you are using the Birdfeeder here, that you have your dice stored here as well. And these are going to match the current expansions that you're using. Right now, we're just using the core game, base game, and Eastern European cards, so we're only using those base game dice as well. If we were playing with the Oceania expansion that includes Nectar, we would swap out these dice for our Oceania dice in that upper left corner. So based on what you're playing, you'll have your game populated and ready to go, so all you'll need to do is just slide that top of the Birdfeeder on the bottom here. To the left of our Birdfeeder, we just have a basic foam cube in here. This is just to keep things sturdy so nothing shuffles or slides around. Very simple purpose here. Above the foam cube, you'll have your random draw bag here for all of your goal tiles. You're only going to need 4 of these each game, so you'll randomly draw 4 of them and populate the score goal board with them. I really like having these random draw bags as you're not having to shuffle anything and it's already set up and ready to go. Super nice. Some of you may have noticed this, but this bag was actually taken from Vagrant Song. We've put some coin capsules on those, so we have an extra bag from that. But if you're looking for a random draw bag, I do recommend the Board Game Geek microfiber drawstring bags. They've got a great big opening here, easy to stick your whole hand in, grab your tokens, and they come in a variety of colors. Once again, I'll leave a link in the description below for all of the things that I talk about in this video. Next up are all of your different player components here. For storage purposes, we use these Dollar Tree containers. You get them 10 for $1. You simply lift off the lid, put it down like so, and now you have a resource bin for all of your different player tokens. This is a great way to simply set up, put this next to your player board, and you know exactly how many actions you have left each round. Don't feel like you need to get these containers. A simple plastic bag will do fine too. Just put your player pieces in here and then toss the bag to the appropriate player. Our component upgrades for the player pieces are actually leftover cat pieces from the Isle of Cats. We upgraded to the larger cats for that game, and so we have a lot of these little cats left over, and I think they work perfectly in here. The whole thematics behind the cats chasing after the birds. I'm curious to know how you upgraded your player pieces, or if you're using the original insert that comes in the game that stores the cube player pieces. We'll move the rest of the player pieces to the side, and lastly we have our additional game mode components. Our first bag is going to have all of our alternate components for the flock mode for 6 or 7 players. You'll have this bag here that's full of the wheel, as well as indicators onto whose turn it is. So in a 7-player game, this will track the player count, as well as in a 6-player game, which players are taking their turns simultaneously. Underneath all of our 6 and 7-player components, we have our Duet components. This is for the 2-player game that's going to be featuring area control using these yin-yang symbols. So you'll have the 2 specific player character colors that you'll be using for 2-player in their own separate bags. And then you'll also have your remaining components here, including a new player marker for first player, a new end-of-round goal for the flock mode, but on the alternate side is the Duet mode. So based on which one you're playing more often, you'll store that with this. And then lastly, you'll have your special goals that are specifically for the Duet mode. That finishes off the middle section here. Let's move on to the left side here, starting off with all of your bonus cards in this first section. Now, first off, you do have the Historian card that's been removed from the bonus cards. With the addition of the Asia cards, the balance is going to be a little bit off for the 2 per bird named after a person. There just aren't enough in Asia, so this card has been removed. But the rest of your bonus cards will be shuffled up here and all stored behind the bonus cards tab. And one last thing I want to mention about the bonus cards, the Photographer, Cartographer, and Anatomist have updated versions in the Asia expansion, so make sure that you replace these cards from your base game with these new printings. They're just going to detail more examples on what exactly qualifies as body parts, geography terms, and colors. So make sure to replace your cards there. Our next section is all of our Asia cards. Now, these are all from the most recent expansion, and you can definitely shuffle them into your core cards here, and then move those bonus cards back, making room for the spillovers of your cards in this front section here. So you've got all your cards there and all your cards in this first section. However, we've actually opted to keep these as their own small deck of cards. The Asia expansion is standalone, so this is actually its own little microcosm of cards here that you can use instead of using the giant deck of cards from the core game. But it is definitely easy to shuffle this into those core game as well. So you have lots of options with the way that you're going to be storing your cards from the different expansions. And our last set of cards is the Oceania set of cards. Now you can shuffle these into your core game here, but remember, if you do, you're going to need to pull out these dice from this upper left section. These are going to replace those core game dice, adding Nectar into the pool, because the Oceania cards do interact with Nectar. So if you do decide to use the Oceania expansion, you're going to need to shuffle these in to those core cards. Once again, you can readjust the cards over here to the bottom, so that way you can make room to show that you've got that spillover, so that entire deck is being used for your game, and make sure you're using those specific boards that are going to utilize the Nectar resource. And just like the other expansions, all of your expansion content is going to be indicated by the little icon in this bottom right corner. So it's got the OE, the Oceania expansion. So that's all of our Oceania cards, as well as our Oceania dice in that final upper left section. So that is everything in our middle section here. Let's go ahead and pack it up. Let's start in this upper left section with our Oceania dice, as well as all of our Oceania expansion cards and divider. Next up will be all of our Asia cards with the Asia divider here, followed by all of your bonus cards, making sure to keep that Historian separate. And we'll put that into that bottom left section. In the middle section here, we'll put the bottom of our Birdfeeder as well as all of our resource containers tucked on the right side. We'll put that foam cube as well as our Birdfeeder on top. We'll then put all of our Duet and our flock components in that upper section, followed by your player action markers in this empty space here. We'll finish off that middle section here with our random draw bag that's going to hold all of your gold tiles. In this bottom right section, we're going to return all of your bird cards. We'll put back our first player token as well as our end of round reference and of course a silica gel packet for freshness in that right section here. And lastly, we'll put all of your score pads on the left side here with a pencil for score keeping on top. We'll put all of the remaining dividers as well as our chocolate egg container in this upper right section. And finish it off with our two separate sets of Automa cards, one for the core game and Europe and Oceania, and one for the Asia 2-player expansion on the right here. And that is everything inside of your middle section here. Let's move on to the final section on the bottom of the box. So we'll lift out this green box here and move it to the side. In this bottom section here, we have all of our redundant components, including your core base game tray. It's got that nice blue color. You can definitely use this instead of the purple if that's what you prefer. But inside we've actually kept our original cards, the ones that have been replaced with the Asia expansion, the cartographer, photographer, and anatomist. So those are all just stored in here. And I imagine that when new expansions come out, that's when we'll start moving some of this stuff out. But for now, it does keep things nice and snug on the inside. In the middle, we have another tray here. It's actually using the lid from the larger tray that's not included in the storage system, but it uses the lid from that and then the bottom of the purple container. And inside of here, we've got nothing currently. As mentioned before, this is just to keep things nice and snug inside. And our last container here was originally intended for the different player marker cubes, extra sets of dice, as well as your gold tiles and all of those spaces. But we've repurposed it here for some of our redundant components. As mentioned before, the Asia expansion is standalone, so it comes with a brand new set of dice to replace your core ones. Or if you do have those core ones already, you don't need that extra set of 5, so we put them down here. In addition, the Geek Up bits have a lot of extra nectar pieces that don't actually fit into the trays. They were actually way too many of them to actually fit into those original trays, so the rest of the extras are down here. We've also got an end of round reference that's a little obsolete because of the expansion contents with those end of round bonuses. And then we have all of your player cubes that are used, but as mentioned before, we've upgraded them into the cats. We've got some extra silica gel packets for freshness in here, but everything is here just in case maybe we do need it. So that's everything inside of the box and everything inside of the Wingspan Nesting Box. Let's go ahead and pack up the entire thing. First up, let's put our player marker tray in the bottom here, as well as our 2 additional card trays in this middle and right section. Up next is our green middle tray. And lastly, our top tray. And that is organizing the Wingspan Nesting Box. If you have any questions about what you saw here, please let me know down in the comments below. How do you organize your copy of Wingspan the Nesting Box? Out of all of the different games that we've organized on the channel, the Wingspan Nesting Box is probably going to be the one that's the most varied between everybody. I'm curious to hear how you've been organizing the game and for any tips, tricks, and suggestions that you might have for any of the viewers that are watching this video. Please let us know down in the comments below how you organize things. What are your favorite upgrades for Wingspan? I'm also curious to hear which of the future expansions are you most excited for. My favorite is definitely Antarctica. I cannot wait to see what the penguins do in the game. So excited here. But thank you so much for watching. SideGame Strong.